Okay, let's talk about something completely different. I installed, well, kind of. I'm in the process of installing a tack sensor. There's the readout. And yeah, I've been using it, and there's some chips flying. I'm kind of halfway protecting the 3D printer. I still need to make a plexiglass shield for there. Don't worry about that, I'll do that later. But there's my tack readout. And I have a question for you guys, because one thing I like about YouTube is the knowledge of the people that watch it as well as present stuff. And a lot of the cases, you guys that are watching know way more than I know about certain things. And so I need your help. I'm here to ask questions about those cheap eBay $14 digital tacks. Now, it's powered on, and right now it's 0 because it's not running. And I've got the sensor mounted there. Hopefully the lighting is good enough you can see it. And you can see the magnet right there. Now if you put the magnet on the wrong way, it won't even do anything. It won't even do anything. The wiring is really simple. And as you can see, I actually have a second one, because the first one I got didn't work. I'll show you here in a minute what it does. And when you look at the back, it's got the wiring on the back. Hopefully we can read this. So all the way far left, it says brown and positive. Then next to it, it says power negative. And then it says blue. And then you're not using anything. And then it says black. Where it says brown, blue, and black, that is from the sensor. And far left where it says 1, that's power, and number 2 is negative. Notice it says 8 to 24 volt, 30 milliamp. I'm using a wall outlet adapter that's giving me about 10 volts at 500 milliamps. So power-wise, I'm fine. And I did see another YouTuber who said that the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is backwards, and it needs to be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. But yet, he still had brown and power on the far left, and negative, and then blue, and then nothing, and then black. So he didn't change the way the wires are here. He only changed the order of the numbers, which to me didn't make any sense. But all the commenters were like, thank you, that saved it, that made it work. And I don't know what the heck I'm missing. I didn't see any numbers on the board or on the plug. So maybe the original ones, the plug had numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so that's how people wired it. So then when they plugged it in, it was backwards. Maybe that's what was happening. But I just wired it the way it's looking here, where the far left one is power and brown. The next one is negative. I didn't even pay attention to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But the guy said that it's backwards, and you need to wire it backwards. So I'm like, okay, so I rewired it backwards. Well, then the thing wouldn't turn on at all. So I put it back to the way I had it, and it was back to working. Well, but not. At least it would come on. You know, if you did it completely backwards, the way that one guy said, it doesn't even come on. So I don't know what's up with that video. I saw another video where the guy said that these come with the long sensor, and he went online and ordered another sensor, and it was like half the length. It was a lot shorter. And he said that worked for him. And I asked him, I actually commented, and I told him what mine was doing, which I'm going to show you here in a minute. I told him what mine was doing, and I said, is that what yours was doing? Because if yours was doing the exact same thing, then it means I need to order the shorter sensor. And he just replied back and said, yeah, the long ones have had problems. And I'm like, it didn't really answer my question. I wanted to know what your problem was. Because if it was the same thing I'm seeing, then I need to get the different sensor. So anyways, I contacted the seller that I got this from on eBay, and they sent me a whole new unit, which is great. But the new unit is doing the exact same thing the old unit was doing. So so right now there's either one of two possibilities. Either both of these units, and by the way, I tested both units here and both sensors here, and each sensor with each unit, and I'm getting the exact same result. So either both units have the exact same failure, or I wired it wrong. and there's only 5 wires. It's not complicated. I am positive. I am extremely positive I wired it correctly. And even as I found out, if you do wire it wrong, it won't even turn on. So I'm positive I wired it correctly. Let me show you what this does. Now my cooling fan back there is starting to get noisy, so intermittently noisy. So when I turn it on, if it's noisy, well, that's what it is. Yeah, I need to get a new fan right there, because that's, I mean, it's not as loud as when the mill's running, but still, that's kind of annoying. And it just started doing that like yesterday. So I'm going to turn this on. I don't think it's, yeah, notice it goes from 1500, well now it just blanked out. 1500, 2100, earlier went to 3000. Yeah, it's just randomly jumping back and forth. I mean, is it doing 2100? It's actually working better than it did. Now the instructions say it reads down to 10 RPM. From 10 to 990.99. Yeah, you know what I meant. It's not doing 4,000 right now. It's probably doing a few hundred RPM right now. And it's just jumping around between like, well, there's 6,500, 1,100 to 6,500. That can't be right. That's not normal, right? So, you see what it's doing. Keeping it at a constant speed, it's jumping around anywhere from 1,500 up to 6,700 or whatever it was. It's just constant. It's just randomly jumping around all different values. And they both do the exact same thing. So is it both units have a failure? Is it the long sensor that just isn't any good and I need to order a short sensor? So that's the first question to all of you guys who know about these better than me. And again, I'm positive I've got it wired correctly. So I don't know. Let me know what you think about that. Now, actually, this video, I got 2 questions for you. One is, first question is, why is it doing that? Second question is, do I even need that? And the reason why I'm asking is, if you look on the unit, in high, it only goes to 2,500. Now, when I was doing that test, I was only about halfway up, maybe a little bit more than halfway. I'm not going full speed because my magnet is not glued on, and another YouTuber, his magnet came off and flew across the shop and he lost it. So I'm only going about halfway up, which should be about, theoretically, you know, half that. But anyways, this only goes in high speed to 2,500. When you look at a feeds and speeds chart, and I even got a feeds and speeds calculator for my iPad, to mill aluminum with a 1/4-inch 2-flute end mill, the feeds and speeds chart says you need to go at like 8,000 RPM. Well, that can only do 2,500. And I'm sure it's not even doing that much. I'm sure they were being very liberal with that when they are very, I'm sure they were being very, very hopeful when they put that on there. But I don't know. I don't. My speed sensor can't tell me what the heck it's doing. So anyways, the only thing I can do, obviously, I can't run this at 8,000 RPM the way the feeds and speeds chart says. Now, so far, I have been using a half-inch end mill to square off faces, and I've been using a 5/32. I've been using a 5/32 2-flute. To mill features into these aluminum blocks. It's for a project I haven't been doing a video on for YouTube. Maybe I should have, I don't know. But both of those are working perfectly fine, just cranking that up full speed. So 25, I mean, that's as fast as I can go. So full speed, half inch, 5/32, whatever, has been working perfectly fine. So what's the point in having a digital readout because I want $8,000 when I can't even get 2,500? It's almost pointless. I just crank it full blast and go and go to town on it. Now I have not milled steel or anything like that. If I do steel, then I'll just crank it down slower. So for aluminum, this is almost pointless. You just got to go full blast and that works. But anyway, so 2 questions. Why is that not working? And the second question is, do I even need it? I'm kind of thinking I don't even need it. But I would be curious to know your opinions. Let me know what you think. And by the way, just in case you're curious, these are the parts I'm working on. This is an elbow joint for a toy robot. So yeah, I milled out those channels so that could pivot like that. So I milled that out. Obviously that round part I did on the lathe. And there's a smaller block screwed into that piece. Those are 2mm screws. So this can, well, I can't do it one-handed, but there's a rotation joint right there. There, like that. And of course that goes on 2 pieces like that, so I have a rotation joint there. But yeah, that mill has really helped for making parts like that. So anyways, let me know what you think about that. And any opinions you have, I would definitely appreciate. And as always, until next time, thanks for watching.